You are on.
Awesome. Hey guys, we are back for a little Q&A. I'm on Will's laptop now, so it's not WM Reese anymore. It's me. Scout is coming back. She just was running out for a sec. Let's see. Beatgraphs.com says, Clay, how do you balance the yes and nature of improv while keeping the adventure on track when the characters go off the rails?
What are they talking about?
Yeah, who goes off the rails? I mean, I feel like a lot of it is just like, if you lean into the yes and, but also like keep it, this sounds weird to say about a fantasy world, come back in. That was very authoritarian, come back in. The question we just got was, how do you balance the yes and nature of improv while keeping the adventure on track when the characters go off the rails? And I actually feel like the yes and stuff can make for some really fun stuff. And if you just lean to it and make sure that you keep it, this sounds silly to say about a fantasy world, but grounded for the world. So like, make sure the rules of the world stay. Like, for example, the whole thing with like IG Farp and you guys like pitching her on like, no, we'll promote your product. That was great. And that was not planned at all. But that was one of those things where I was like, that's a very cool way to like add another like tiny subplot.
Yeah.
Which like, I don't have to do anything other than yes and it, you know? So like, I feel like, sorry, I just saw another question. I feel like I don't have to balance it that much because if I yes and realistically within the world, it usually will balance itself. That said, honestly, the whole fact that it all happens over the course of one day and that they technically could not get paid if they don't finish the job by 5 p.m. is the other way I keep them on track. And that's a big part of why I will occasionally say like, well, it's like 1:30 now. Just like, because if they don't finish by 5, then they just don't get the thing and the show will end.
Yeah.
Which, you know, I'm waiting. I feel like someday someone's going to do that. I think it might be a show when Scout is on because both times you've been on, you've been like, no, I don't want to do this. This is crazy. And I feel like sooner or later you're going to be on with people who are like, yeah, this is nuts. Let's go do something else. And then the quest will just be forgotten.
Yeah. Well, and if I could add something to that, because I was just thinking about this exact thing the other day, is because oftentimes, you know, I think the problem is when the players derail themselves, because oftentimes you'll have something like a locked door, and then someone would be like, I say we open it, someone will say, I say we check for traps, and someone else will say, I'll burn it down. And the yes and is really important with the group because there's really no right answer. What's important is that you just keep things going. So as soon as someone has any sort of idea, you just go, yeah, and you move on. Because where my games tend to stretch are the players are trying to come up with the right answer.
Yeah.
And they keep
or the funniest answer. I love doing bits, but it's a fun you gotta do your bits, but do your job.
Yeah. And don't keep coming up with new things. See the things through and where they lead.
Yeah.
Clay, just so you know, we're only running this camera right now, so if you need to talk to them.
Oh, great. I'm going to stop talking to that camera then. Okay. Lieutenant, I think it's supposed to be Lieutenant Gilligan, but LT Gilligan says, I want to know where Scout got her hat and where Josh got his hat and shirt.
Nobody gives a shit about what I'm wearing.
This is I go to medieval times and or pirate adventures all the time. This is medieval times hat. I wanted a hat with horns, but I didn't have one in my house.
Oh, you mean
got
like
me
the
shocked.
Viking hat? Yeah. This is from a little mom and pop shop called Lids. You might find it in the mall. And this is actually a shirt for the band Caribou.
Nice.
And I like it because it doesn't say the band name anywhere. I just like the shirt.
That's
It's
nice.
also very light. So,
Go, we're
there you
supposed
go.
to have breakfast.
Thank you.
Kyle Crusoe asks if I've listened to Hello from the Magic Tavern yet. I haven't. I've been very busy. It's a D&D podcast that Kyle recommended on the show last week, I believe. I will. We got a bunch of much love from Fractured Worlds. Thank you again, guys. Oh, wow, a ton of them are coming in now. Fractured Worlds is another D&D stream.
Do you want me to monitor chat, or do you want to hold on to it?
What was that?
Do you want me to monitor chat since there's so many more people?
Is it overwhelming?
It's up to you.
It's okay.
Okay.
Can I say something about Magic Tavern? Because I was having a beer with Arnie before he'd started Magic Tavern, and he pitched me the idea, and I was like, that sounds great for me, but there's no way any other human beings ever going to listen to this because it's the most nerdy concept you've ever heard of.
I thought
But it's blowing up. It's huge.
I didn't know anything about D&D except that it was a game I'd never played, and no one ever. But then I'm from Harmontown.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, this is fun. That is like pretty much just what I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This sounds great. And then now I love playing it. I get really hooked on it.
Yeah, it's really fun. Also, the person who asked about the keeping people on track in the yes ending says in parentheses, the question came from watching the Brunch Goat episode in the archives, which is a episode where people straight up spent the first half of the day because they were like, we want brunch. Is there anywhere we can get goat? Ooh. And they like spent time looking for a place that has like good goat brunch.
That sounds like a Berg episode.
It was actually a Sarah Klospel episode.
Did they enjoy it? Did they get good goat?
Yeah, they eventually found a place.
But the journey really got your goat. I just wish I could explode my own head.
Let's see. Kyle, where did you get your mustache?
Sean, where did you get your mustache? Oh, Kyle said this.
Kyle said it.
I was wondering if there's a question about Kyle's mustache. So can we bring Kyle up here? Thanks for noticing my mustache.
His parents' genealogy.
Yeah.
Thanks for not noticing my mustache. No, but really, thanks.
Sorry, we got a big raid from Fractured World, so I'm just scrolling through all that still, just checking to see if I missed any questions. Let's see. I don't want Sean to feel left out. How much time does he put into mustache grooming?
You know what? It's like a weekly thing. So if I discount the amount like daily waxing, right? Because that doesn't take any time, and then nightly conditioning, which is like nothing either, because he's just rubbing stuff in, right? So I would say weekly trim, you brush it out, right? Leave a mustache comb.
Wow, you can do it.
Do you brush your face hair?
No.
Look how short his is. You see, it's trimmed.
I usually do. Yeah, I trim it once a week or so.
Also, I'm sorry, I'm just correcting myself for the rest of the stream, but B-Graphs just reminded me they didn't find a place to get brunch. That's right. They slaughtered a goat in the street and someone got food poisoning.
That's not going to be good goat.
Yeah.
Go to the OK goat
After
place.
they used the spell speak to animals to talk to the goat they were about to kill.
Did they ask it how tasty it was?
I think they did.
That's
That's opposite of how I handle brunch. If I can't find pancakes, I'm not gonna make them. And that's pancakes.
Yeah, right. In an alley somewhere. But you're right. I mean, if an adventure like
I'm a
brunch
lady.
takes all day. That's gonna.
Yeah.
Take, and you have a couple mimosas, you're done.
I can't.
Zidian says the real-time camera angles are on point. Everybody, that's to our crew. That's awesome. Thank you. Let's see.
I have to take their word for it.
Any more mustache questions?
Hello Brand says, Dad, when are you coming home? The guy on the right.
Is that me? You?
I guess.
It's Josh. Earlier he said the guy in the hat is my dad.
Oh.
Sorry, never.
Give children.
Just going out to get cigarettes.
Sean, where did you get your cloak?
Oh, actually, I was saying this earlier. I did have a cloak, couldn't bring it. A friend borrowed it for some sort of LARPing audition. Was bummed out because in the email it says, please dress like your character, and I wanted to.
I toned back my original plan, and that's not even. I didn't even tone back. I kind of just woke up hungover and couldn't mobilize past this.
Josephus, in my mind, was wearing this.
The hat color helps.
Shops at
Yeah.
Lids.
Yeah. I pictured your whole guy just basically this color of gray.
Yeah. That's really funny. Let's see. As someone who anticipates going bald, should I grow a mustache to compensate?
100%. Women's perspective.
that was
100%.
fast.
Do something fun.
Yeah, but also it depends. Depends on the rest of the face.
Are you saying though, as a woman's perspective, only if you're going bald?
No. I think mustaches are a net gain unless that's like your thing and you talk about it too much.
Yeah, and you do this.
I have friends who do that, but they're like, I worked in sideshow forever, and so like that's like their thing. They're like old timey guy. And they do it. That doesn't bother me. What bothers me when you're not doing you, when you're like, I'm gonna be a mustache guy. It's like I went through that when I was like in 3rd or 4th grade, where I was like, I'm gonna wear this jacket every day for the rest of my
have a
life.
fedora and a walking stick.
Yeah,
Right.
it's like you don't need that, but yeah.
And it's a costume you're putting
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
If the question is, should I mustache, and you can grow a mustache, hell yeah.
Should I mustache?
Should I mustache?
Hell yeah.
You should mustache. Hashtag.
Hashtag should I mustache? Hell yeah.
Sean, choose. Being bald or not having a mustache. Go.
Is that my wife asking that question? Being bald or not? I don't want to be bald. It doesn't matter. Go ahead. Kill me. It doesn't matter.
That
You
is...
took
At first I cared, but it's like, it doesn't matter. We're all dust and we're all dying.
Whew.
mustache.
Oh,
I'd say.
wow.
Okay, mustache. I take back the dust and dying part.
Kyle Crusoe was the person who asked about should he grow a mustache. And he pointed out, no, the question's open to everyone.
See?
I would rather never have a mustache than go bald.
Just don't grow it in
Is that
November.
what the options are there? I don't know.
Well, that's a different question. But so the options are choose between being bald or not having a mustache.
Yeah, not having a mustache.
Not having a mustache.
Yeah.
I used to not have this, I didn't always have this.
Scout.
Oh, I keep my hair. I'm a girl.
No
It-
shit.
I think for you would be or have a mustache.
Yeah, him it. I do. That was
this-
the whole ordeal.
This is a
No, I
good
mean it every
question.
day.
How much time do you-
Look at my hair.
How much time do you spend on mustache maintenance?
Minimal. I actually have minimal mustache, but enough
Just,
that
do you
I have
bleach?
to do stuff.
Do you bleach? Shave
No, I
clip?
don't like. This is the most boring.
No,
I actually have
it's
a
fine.
really hard time with it because all of the things are like hard on your face. So I like kind of do like a little bit of like everything. Like I'll get in there with a pair of tweezers if I need to. If I got something coming up. I'll sugar.
I'm really close
I
to
use
the good.
turmeric and milk. Like I'll do all the hippie things.
Shannonina says, I think as a woman I choose a mustache over being bald, but I think that's a pretty rare scenario.
She would rather have a mustache and be bald as a woman.
And
No,
then
choose a mustache over being bald.
Oh,
I think it sounds to me like she's saying if she could grow a mustache,
I got
she
it.
would take it.
bald with mustache is a really cool look, dude.
This is a good question.
Oh, good.
Who do you think got into their character the most today?
I thought that Bocephus was definitely on
I
top.
would go Bocephus
And
too.
I would. I think it was rare that you even spoke as yourself, like the entire time.
You made good moves too.
Oh,
Yeah.
I
Also-
like that you had the bits of waving.
Also, incredibly bad moves.
Yeah.
But that's the best.
Consistently. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would go with that too. Hey, way to go, buddy.
Hey, thanks. And
you wanna punch him
all
in
he
the
had to be was dumb.
And the voice. Dumb with a voice. That's
You're just a dumb smashing guy.
you just solved improv. It's dumb with a voice.
Darth Revan? I forget how it's pronounced.
I don't think it's a real word.
It's from a
it's
Star
from
Wars
the
video
new
game.
one.
No,
Oh, video.
it's one of the games. Darth Revan. Question for the handsome devil in the middle.
Thank you.
How did you get into D&D?
So in 1989, Operation Desert Shield was heating up.
Shut up. Really?
I think so. I don't really
Oh.
remember. But so 1989, there was a friend of mine named Fraser, whose older brother, his name was Wes, who was a senior in high school, and he used to paint wolves, like giant wolf paintings, and all his sleeves were cut off of his t-shirts.
Sure.
And I thought he was the coolest dude in the world. He was a black belt in Taekwondo, and he and his friends, one of whom only wore moccasins.
Oh, man.
They would sit around and play Marvel Comics TSR role-playing game and Dungeons and Dragons. And so they looped us into we played our first game, and he got annoyed with me and killed me with a flower pot. And so that's when I first, he was annoyed with me. He goes, all right, fucking flower pot falls down and kills you. Anyway, and then they moved on with the rest of the game.
Oh, that's funny.
Character's name was Early Grave, so that's pretty perfect. But that's how I got started playing, and we would just play every day. Because when you're a kid, you can just play every fucking day, whenever you want to. You just you get a game started. You're so young, you don't know what's good, you don't know what's bad, so it all seems like it's awesome.
Yeah,
So awesome.
that's awesome.
I had a lot of great memories from like that period of my life. Like only good memories.
The
of my
first
life.
time I ever played D&D was in a very isolated incident where I was at a supercomputer summer camp.
Ooh. What
where-
year are we talking?
This would have been in my middle school,
Yep.
I think. So I think it would have been around 96.
Yeah.
But it was like going to UW Eau Claire, Wisconsin, where they had a Cray supercomputer. And it was using lab equipment to make like super basic 3D
Right.
animation for 2 weeks while staying in the dorms.
Yeah.
It's maybe the geekiest thing I've ever done. But
Was it awesome? No.
it was weird. Like I didn't know a lot of people, so like the friend and like
Can't
the
imagine
friends
it
I
was too social.
yeah, like the friends I made, like the first time I ever heard of ICP, Insane Clown Posse, was there because one of the guys I made friends with was super
What are
into
those called?
Juggalos.
Juggalos.
Or ninjas.
Ninjas.
And it was like one of those things where I was like, well, he's the only guy I'm really friends with here, so I kind of be like, yeah, this is cool. And then, but I played D&D there for the first time, but it was a terrible experience.
Really?
Because they had this gigantic cave map where I think someone did some sort of like displacement spell or something on me. So my character ended up on the other side of the map, and I spent like so much of the time playing like well, I guess I keep running this way towards the fight that's going on.
And that's what I loved about D&D when I started, is it was just two of us, and we would play these really, really small games. Like, we played this one game with these characters who are escaping an orphanage as toddlers. And it's like, with that, you don't have to worry about all these sort of, like, big, high magic things, and you can just, like, really get into it and goof around.
Yeah, it's and it was fun, and it was also like with people I didn't know, and like looking back at it, I don't even know if they were running the game right. I didn't like. It was one of those.
We were not running the game.
Yeah, like it was one of those situations where like I was like, oh, this is D&D. What do I do? Here, just take this sheet and roll when I tell you to roll, and tell me what you want to do. And it's like with that sort of introduction, it's very with people you don't know well.
Yeah.
I was very like, okay, this seems a little boring. I'm just running a lot.
Yeah. What did you think of your first time?
I thought it was pretty fun.
Yeah.
I was trying to figure out how. It was just now. Yeah, I didn't. I felt like I was easily distracted. But
I don't think
was
you were
trying to figure out. I was just trying to figure out how it worked, sort of.
I don't think you were that easily distracted. Honestly, not more than most people who it's the first time they've ever played.
If I were to do it again, I might give myself a little more to do besides 2 club hits.
Well, that's kind of the curse of a level 1 fighter. Is
Yeah.
that's what you're there.
As
to
you
do.
level up,
Yeah.
you get more to do, but like also a fighter's job is sort of to hit stuff.
Uh-huh.
It is funny, like, because last week, it was either last week or 2 weeks ago, Erica Rhodes was on, and it was the first time she had ever played, and she had almost the identical situation to you where she wanted to get coffee in the beginning. And she was telling me after, like, I played that same half-elf barista, and she started ordering and just started cracking up during it.
Yeah.
And you started doing that too.
Yeah.
You were laughing a lot while ordering coffee, and it was. She told me after, she was just like, I didn't realize how long you were gonna play into this dumb bit.
Yeah.
Like I didn't realize how far you would
Until
go
it's
down
done.
this roll. Like I thought it would be like a side thing, and you'd tell me, all right, shut up, now we go do this. And like she was just like, oh, I didn't realize you were gonna like spend 5 minutes telling
Yeah.
me what coffee was available.
You asked.
Yeah.
I also like that. So it's not like a video game where there's things I can't do.
No.
Yeah.
Like so,
it's-
I can kind of like when I just wanted to see if I could smash the counter.
Yeah.
So you knew, or when that happens, this is just a technical question. Do you already have that predetermined of how strong that counter is, or do you just make that up? That can't impossible, right? You have to be like.
I make
think the
a lot
counter-
of it, that sort of thing, especially when people go off on the side. Like I'm making a lot of stuff up on the fly.
So you broke my hand on purpose.
Well, you had a bad roll.
Well, you
so
bad
you're-
roll. You rolled like a 2
Oh,
or
I see.
something.
Yeah.
And I just decided you rolled so bad
Yeah.
that, and you didn't look at. It was like one of those on the fly things where it was on the fly, but it was me making a split second decision of like. You didn't look at the table, so it could be anything, and you rolled bad. No, you're gonna get hurt for this. That's also like, that's the sort of thing I maybe like, because you would like hit, I think like 4 or 5 tables at that
Yeah.
point, and I was like, I'm also doing things like
Trying to keep it going.
well, also like just like, all right, you know what? He should have consequences for this
Yeah.
at some point.
Yeah.
Like if he's not
your choice.
looking at her, yeah. And so it's just like, oh, this is a good place to point out like, especially because you're a new player. I'm like, let's show that. No, you didn't ask what it was like. You didn't look at it. So-
Yeah.
Was the podium always a mimic?
no, that was actually on the fly.
Yeah. Like this game can get really nerdy, and there are 2 schools of thought. Like there's the one school of thought that you should just let everything roll and sort of make it up, and there's a school of thought where everything needs to be like even and precise and balanced. And so like if you dig into like 3rd edition Dungeons and Dragons and Pathfinder and like 2nd edition Dungeons and Dragons, you'll find like saving throws for equipment and for items, and so like there'd be a whole list of different things. Like this door has this many hit points,
Yeah.
it has this much hardness, and
If
it's
you
this
want to
AC.
play it that way, there are absolutely like you could have a table that says if it's a wooden door,
Yeah.
it's this hard to break down. If it's a
That's
steel
boring-
door, it's
boring
this
as hell.
hard. Blah 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 blah.
Boring as hell.
And I just personally don't like playing that way.
Yeah.
Also, Josh and I actually forgot to ask with you guys, like, but I think all of us have at least some background with improv.
Yeah.
So it's like I think people who improvise also tend to play more that way because it's like I don't want to stop and look at a table. I just want to say like, yeah, you rolled a 12. Sure, that's enough for breaking this door down.
Yeah. And that's kind of the vibe of 5th edition too. Is it's like
Yeah.
break the door, move on.
Yeah.
There's no saving throw for your bottle or anything like that.
Yeah. And that's my philosophy.
Dig it.
Let's see. Not a lot more questions, it's looking. Oh, has anyone played any RPGs outside of a medieval fantasy setting?
Yeah, man.
What was that accent?
That was like sort of faux Jamaican.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Shadowrun, Tales from the Floating Vagabond, Battle, like those mech games like BattleTech, and Marvel superheroes. Aliens, the role-playing game.
Ooh, I've mainly played D&D. I played a few games of the Marvel one. I assume
new
it's
one?
this. No, the one from the 80s.
Yeah, man.
Because a friend bought all the old books. We played it like 2 or 3 years ago a bunch of times.
Yeah.
But it was because a friend just bought all the old books on eBay because he was like, "This looks cool and I want to try it."
It is, right? Did you
Yeah.
like it?
It's because we were playing 4th edition D&D at the time, and it's so much looser than 4th edition D&D that like it's actually closer to what this is. And I was like, it was a cool experience in that respect. It kind
It's
of
got
prepped me.
the table on the back.
Yeah.
Yeah, which makes it good.
This means nothing to you guys, but it's where you get to be superheroes. I played the X-Men Cannonball,
Oh!
who's a Southerner who just blasts off like a cannonball.
Yeah, super top shelf. Yeah. I was always busy making stupid characters that were like the junior version of an established character, and I thought that was so brilliant. So I was always like Wolverine Jr. Or like Spider-Man Jr. Always name of thing Jr.
Mike
I was gonna make $1
AJ
million from that.
Mike AJ95 asks, "What was the funniest moment today?"
Today? That sounds like we're just patting our own backs.
No, I think you're waving. There was something where
Yeah.
when you
Oh,
were
that
waving.
kept waving. That was really funny.
I really liked that. I think it was. I don't remember who you were waving
I
at.
thought it was funny when you convinced her to come.
I did too. I just like that line of like, hey,
Oh yeah, please don't
please don't care.
Yeah, I really. That was great.
Please don't care.
And how dejected you were. You're like,
I really enjoyed the when you guys convinced Vemsy Farbin, who's a character who has showed up in a previous episode, Vemsy Farbin to like give you the potions,
Yeah.
because that was one of the like it wasn't hilarious in the moment, but it really amused me because it was like that makes perfect sense,
Yeah.
and I didn't even think about that possibility. But yes, I will absolutely let you
and
do
she
that.
totally told me no the first time
Yeah.
until I made my case.
No, you may, and you like
got some pushback.
honestly, you lowered what the initial difficulty
Yeah.
check of that was because your case was so good. It was like so airtight that I was like, no, it should be easier with that airtight of logic. So I actually lowered it from what I was initially going to make it. How long has everyone been playing D&D? So first time, second time?
Second time.
26 years.
26 years. That's much longer than me.
like that.
I started playing around 2008, I believe. So 8 years now.
And you're a big fan of 4th edition, huh?
I played it for a long time. I liked it. I don't play it anymore. I like 5th more.
Yeah.
And it is like, I'm of the opinion that I liked it while I was playing it, but I do think 4th was a very good, for me personally, first intro to role playing. Because I come from more of a video game playing background, and it is more like
bridging
that.
the gap for
And
video
it like is, I almost wonder if like, and there are elements where you can play, if you wanted to, you could sort of play 5th edition more like 4th.
Yeah.
That's kind of what they did with this rule set. Gave you hooks to do that if you wanted. But like, I actually almost feel like there is a place for like 4th edition, almost as like the way back in the day they had advanced and basic D&D, almost as like great, if you want
that's an
something
interesting idea.
that's a little more of a basic thing, or if you're like used to playing role-playing games that is easier to learn, I feel like they could make a modified version of 4th that would be good for that. That said, they are not having any trouble luring people in with 5th. It's like one of the best-selling RPGs in a long time.
Do you prefer being dungeon master always?
I like playing a lot. I have a home group that I'm playing with a lot, which I have DM'd for before, but currently I'm just playing because we rotate people.
I love that.
I think I'm actually at the point where I kind of, when I have the time to write the adventure that I want to write, I like DMing more. But also, there is something fun about playing and just not having. It's always the push and pull of like, if you DM, you have to do more work outside of it. But I like the game enough that it's not like it's a huge burden
Right.
to write something. It's just time.
Right.
I need. But I love playing too. Let's see. Did Scout's crown ever start to fall, or did it fall off? Yes.
Yeah, but then I noticed I could tighten it in the back.
Oh, good.
Oh, nice.
So now I can tighten
Because it was going over your eyes too.
It was falling, and it was it's squunching my glasses onto my nose.
Beatgraphs asked, will adventure notes be available for these games? That's something we're totally thinking about, especially with like the Patreon and like building out those goals. I keep looking at this camera because I'm conditioned to, because normally that's my camera. We're good. We're talking about it. We want to make it happen. We don't have it right now. I want to do it. It's just that since we write one of these every week, honestly, I worry that nobody would make heads or tails of my notes except me, just because I use a lot of like either shorthand or like I'll have sections where it's like, just like not poorly formatted and stuff like that. But we're definitely talking about like taking some of these adventures and turning them into basically short one-off campaigns, because like things you could use in any setting to run like when you just want to do a one-night thing with your group, where it's like, oh, we some people are missing, so we don't want to continue our huge campaign we've got going. But yeah, I'll say, well, let's do this as the last question because I think someone's got to head out soon. But Mike AJ95 again asked, what was the hardest part about today's game?
First of all, I didn't totally understand. I knew that once
Really?
I knew that once we got in there, everything was gonna go bad, and whatever was gonna try to kill us. But it's always hard because you want to be funny and you want to it's fun when you wander off and convince that person to give you the next life thing, but you want to do the challenge. When we have to go through everything and I check this box, I check that box, I get so bored. So I'm always get to the fight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even if I die, get to the fight.
Yeah, that wouldn't have lasted too much longer because I was realizing in the moment, this isn't super fun.
Right.
I probably would have something. So you know how Phil at one point was saying they're not supposed to come out without being touched, and that was part of Frega's sabotage. I was going to use that to get them to start proactively attacking if you guys didn't find some soon.
Right. Not to any fault of you. I think just in general.
No, that's actually.
In general, there's a desire to be I know the bad guys are in here. I know how movies go. Let's go.
Yeah, it's there's a sense too of when you're DMing where it's at least for me, because I want it to be fun, and especially as a show. If we were just at one of our houses playing, maybe I wouldn't do that. But for people watching, I'm kind of okay, I can get the sense that this is moving a little slow. Maybe I'll do something behind the scenes to just pick it up a little.
I had a DM who liked to punish you for violating the unspoken rules. So it was always step 1, listen at the door. Step 2, check the door for traps. Step 3, check to see if it's locked. Step 4, open the door. Step 5, check
I don't
the
have
hallway
that kind of
out.
time in my life.
It was boring as fuck. And so what you do is you do that one door, and the next door the barbarian goes, I could go down, and then you're done anyway.
That's the entire reason that first room had no mimics in it.
Yeah.
Because I was I don't want the first thing they do, and then they're going to be every single
Then you're
thing
conditioned.
checking.
Yeah.
And with all mimics in the adventure, you're going to want to do that. So I was just no, perfect. Let's have the first 2 doors. They will think it's mimic and not do it at all.
And this dude would roll and he'd be well, you didn't listen at the door. And then he'd let you know that you had done something wrong. He was rubbing your nose in it.
He sucks. I don't know him. He sucks.
Oh, I love this. Beatgraphs just said, yeah, I'm totally going to steal your Dragon's Tool episode at some point. Absolutely, go for it. If you want to make your own version of it, do it. This was the last. I can't keep track of when each adventure is.
Does it all blur together?
Yeah, they all blur together.
What a great job
I believe
you
it was
got.
either last week or 2 weeks ago, but there was an adventure where they were sent on a quest to deliver the tool of a dragon somewhere. And they got closer and realized, okay, everybody's talking about this dragon's tool. Then they realized it was someone misread. It was just one word, and it was dragon stool. Because dragon stool is a very effective manure because they don't poop enough, so it's got lots of nutrients.
Sure.
This is the type of stuff I think about at home. I think that's it,
eating
guys. Thank you so much. Oh, 2 weeks ago. Thank you.
YouTube archive?
Oh, also, gosh, I forgot to mention this in the stream. Anybody still watching? If you want to watch those older episodes, youtube.com/jashplay. We're putting up older episodes. Are we up through 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
Yeah. And this one will go up hopefully in the next week or two. But yeah, And we stream basically every Thursday at 3 p.m. except the last week of the month. We're trying to start doing a nighttime show once a month. We're still trying to figure out what day of the week that'll always be. Next week should be Wednesday. We're figuring out the times. I'm sorry I can't get more specific. It'll be on all our social media. Check Twitter /AristoCrits. All right. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.